Hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 65 of the Wulong Talks podcast. My name is Jason. I'm the host of the show, as you know by now. And I'm joined as ever by Rich Kid, formerly known as the Rustling Kid. Rich Kid, say what's up.
Episode 65. We are old codgers. We're allowed to retire now. Do you know that?
Listen, I want my retirement fund before I retire anywhere from podcasting, bro. I want myself a little nest egg. I want some money. Because I ain't getting paid from this. So I want some money, yo. How's everybody doing? We hope everybody is all good. Thank you for being patient with us as we've had quite a few gaps between episodes recently. As you probably know from the last couple of podcasts, I've just been gifted a son, and he's doing great, but he's getting used to life outside the womb and still adjusting. And, that means there's a lot of adjusting required for me. And Rich is a very busy man as well these days. So it takes a little time to kind of corral the posse, myself and Rich together and to get these things done. But we managed to do it tonight. We're here. And we're ready to chat to you. We've got loads of things to talk to you about, as it's been a while since we last recorded. So we're going to get through as many of these things as we can. But first off, as always, Rich, I'll ask you what you've been up to since we last spoke. Been doing anything cool?
I've been kind of lax, to be honest. I've just been super busy at work. For all the listeners that don't know, me and Jason actually work in the same place. So he's basically, been off for paternity, and work for me has just been chock-a-block. I mean, you came back to work on Monday, Jay. I know you were loving it. So,
oh yeah, I was very happy, very very happy.
But to be honest, it's just been the usual. So it's just been, catching up with TV shows. I've kind of cut down on the comic books for the last month or so, and just cracking on with the computer games a little bit. I think I'm the only person who actually hasn't seen Captain Marvel. So before you ask, or if anybody else out there is thinking, because they know I'm a Captain Marvel fan, that's actually one of the reasons why I wasn't on the last podcast as well. It's just because I haven't seen it. I'm going to try and see it this week. I am going to try and see it. No, sorry. Let me speak it into existence, into the known universe. I am going to see it before Avengers Endgame. Mm-hmm. So that's what's coming up. The last thing I did do that was of any interest, which I was actually quite surprised, was the TV show Hannah, which was an Amazon Prime original, which is like a TV show based on the film which came out quite a few years ago, starring Eric Bana, Kate Blanchett, and the Irish girl whose first name I can never pronounce.
No, it's very tricky to pronounce that. It's that kind of Celtic name. It's Charisse or something like that. I think Charisse Ronan. But that's probably not even the correct pronunciation. So any Irish listeners who know how to pronounce that properly and want to let us know, please do, man.
Yeah. Please let us know. And send us a bottle of proper 12 whiskey from Conor McGregor as well.
I don't even know. Wait, is he outside the bar still? Because I know he was in court the other day.
Listen, that guy's in court for fun, but he's got money that he looks like he's just walking in and then doing that money walk out. Like, I think he's a prime example of, any exposure is good exposure. I'm sure somewhere he's still making money even when he's pissing people off. But that's those aren't the topics that really touch upon. So Conor McGregor can kind of go about his business. Suarez Ronan. But the TV show is based on the film, and it actually really was interesting. It managed to elaborate a lot more on what was only hinted at in the film. I remember seeing the trailer for the film quite a few years ago, and then seeing it and going, well, you kind of promised me this, and I didn't get that. Whereas, like, over the course of a series, whether it be 6 episodes or 12 episodes, it gives them the option to to just stretch things out and give a lot more meat to the bone, so to speak. And I was genuinely surprised. And I have to say that we're 4 months into the year, and coming up I mean, usually at the end of the year, we do like our roundup of, you know, best films, best actors, whatever, you know, our version of the Oscars. But as it stands right now, Joel Kinnaman is an actor that is really, really starting to. I'm really starting to appreciate his work. The last few things that I've seen him in, I'm actually I've really enjoyed him in it. So that's one thing that I can say.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I'll have to check that out because I remember seeing Hannah the movie
Yeah,
and thinking it was okay, but again, like you, it kind of didn't feel. It felt very lightweight and short in the storytelling department.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it seems like maybe with it actually being a series, they've been able to kind of pad it out more and tell the story better, which is not unusual. I mean, look at Dear White People.
yeah,
The movie Dear White People I thought was okay, but
yeah,
the TV series I enjoyed a lot more because
yeah.
it, you know, they were able to actually expand on the characters a bit more because you've got more time to tell your story. You can actually go into a bit more detail and
Mm,
explain why characters have done certain things the way they've done it, you know. So
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. Interesting.
I'll tell you what else I did watch. And this was I mean this is at the forefront just because I watched it, if not yesterday, then the day before. But Guava, is it Guava Island?
Oh yeah, yeah, Guava Island. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Guava Island. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's you know Donald Glover and oh some
Mm.
people call him Childish Gambino, but in this they just call him Donald Glover because that's his acting name. And what's the name? And Rihanna. Like my lord, I'm not even trying to focus on this, but Rihanna is one of the most beautiful women in the whole entire world, and she seems to be able to act. Um, and it's just it was quite an entertaining movie. It reminded me of those. Jason, remember we there was that Caribbean guy that used to go around South London and tell like folk tales or African Caribbean folk tales. Did he ever come
Um.
to your school? And it's him that he told the story of them of Hossieback.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know you're talking about, you know, but I can't remember his name. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember years ago when we first met, you
Hmm.
said he came to your primary school, like or your
He
secondary
did.
school.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He did. Yeah. His name completely escapes me now,
yeah,
but yeah.
but he came to my primary school as well. And so basically, listeners, what it was is that I mean, this is going on nearly 30 years ago. There was this African or Caribbean guy who used to go around schools and just tell folk tales from different cultures, but mainly African and Caribbean. Just to educate people that is not just Peter Rabbit and Winnie the Pooh and and Paddington Bear that's around, but basically Guava Island, the way how it's told, plays like a modern day folktale. I mean, it can be quite violent at some points and quite adult, but it's really really interesting and it's visually a beautiful film. And once again, I mean, not that I'm trying to say that one thing is better than the other, but just like when I watch Black Panther, I'm watching Guava Island and I'm seeing black people, but different types of black people. I'm seeing light and seeing dark. I'm seeing black. I'm seeing brown.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a really really nice film, and I think anybody who's a fan of either of those two or just wants to watch something that's entertaining and beautiful to look at, definitely give it a go.
Hmm. Yeah, no doubt, listeners. Make sure you go and check that out. I mean, that's definitely on my list as well. So I do need to check that out because it did flash up on my recommendations the other day on Netflix, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. Especially as it's got Donald Glover and Rihanna in it. But yeah. I mean, I have heard that, like people who've seen it have said a lot of the same things you said about the kind of feeling like it's a modern day folktale and things like that, and that kind of stuff like will always appeal to me. So yeah, that's definitely something that will be on my list to check out, man. Well, I've been all good. I've been, as said, busy with fatherhood, but I have had some opportunity to do a bit of movie watching. I've been able to go out and see a couple of movies, which I'll talk to you all briefly about. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get around to doing the usual "Is it worth a tenner" review for these, so apologies. But I think I could sum up my thoughts in like 2 or 3 minutes on these anyway. So the first movie I went to go and see was Shazam, which is the latest offering from DC and from Warner Brothers. Shazam, I thought was a really fun movie. It was really enjoyable to kind of watch it as an experience. It was so nice to have a DC movie that had charm to it as well, which is something, you know, that me and Richard talked about constantly in the past on other episodes about how charmless, you know, a lot of DC movies were at the time, as they all seem to be following the same pattern. But certainly with Aquaman and now with Shazam, you can see they're clearly trying to break the mold and go in a different direction. And you know, I've always argued that there's room for everything. You know, DC can have its dark stuff, but it can also have things that are lighthearted and things that, you know, appeal to the child in us. And that's what, you know, Shazam does very well. It appeals to the child in you. It's also got a very great kind of classic golden age comic book feel to the movie as well, partly because of the characters' power sets and things like that. And the way that the story is told, it just kind of has that kind of classic Saturday afternoon movie that you would watch with your mum, you know, like a Goonies or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it has that kind of feel to it in terms of the way that the story is told and the characters presented and stuff. So yeah, Shazam was really, really good. I mean, Shazam was never a comic book character that I knew that much about. Rich, I know you know the character a bit kind of better, and I know you haven't seen the movie Shazam, but
Yeah.
you know, from like a comic book perspective, what, you know, what is kind of the background of Shazam? Like, where do you know the Shazam power set come from, and how does it kind of fit into the wider DC universe?
I mean, I mean, you can break it down into two parts. So you've got the whole character of Shazam and how he was the original Captain Marvel, and he was also actually at one point the most popular comic book character, even outranking Superman in sales. So you've got that bit of history, and then obviously you've got like the character that, to be honest, you know who he is? He is the male version of Captain Marvel without the whole thing of, like, you know, the Captain Marvel name. Where he's a popular character and he has a particular moniker, but it feels like they don't know what to do with him. He's somebody that's been rebooted so many times or had series cancelled and then restarted again because they want to make him relevant. And this is the same issue that they've had with Carol Danvers over in Marvel, whether she's had good runs or not. I don't know if you've noticed, but they seem to keep on just like cancelling her series and then restarting it again. But with Captain Marvel, who's now known as Shazam, just due to copyright license, he's basically the world's mightiest mortal, and he's a 13-year-old boy called Billy Batson, who has the power to transform into the Earth's mightiest mortal, called, well, now Shazam. And Shazam gains his power from Shazam, and Shazam is one of the main wizards of the DC universe who lives on a Rock of Eternity. And what he's able to do is able to draw particular powers from particular gods. This is whenever we have any form of like trivia, I can never get all of these right. But each letter of the word Shazam, which when Billy Batson shouts, strikes him with a magical lightning bolt and transforms him into a superhuman adult, each letter gives him a power from a particular god. So I think S stands for the strength of Hercules, and H stands for something else.
Well, I was going to say Hercules.
Yeah.
That's for Hercules.
Yeah.
I don't know.
S stands for the strength of Hercules. H stands for Hercules. A stands for Apple.
A stands for Hercules.
So yeah. And I mean, he's had some really good runs. I mean, the thing about him is that you can write really interesting stories because essentially he is a kid who then becomes a superhero. You can tell countless stories about that. I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons why when he originally did come out, he did outsell Superman, is because it's something that you're able to latch onto, especially as a kid. And Jason, where you've spoken about the film, you said that it's got a very, very like nice charm and the type of thing that you'd watch on like a Sunday afternoon, you know, with your parents, and you know that Goonies feel where you're a kid and everything's, which may actually be big around you because you're that age, seems even bigger than that. And I think that's one of the things that the character of Shazam has always stayed true to. So that's one of the things that's made me kind of like a bit peed off that I haven't seen the film yet. Because if they're able to knuckle down and get that right, then they're definitely onto a winner. Which is, from what I've heard, is what they've actually done. But the comic book, I mean, like I said, is definitely an interesting read. The last reboot that I have kind of skimmed through, I wasn't the biggest fan of, because I think that they've made him a bit dark. But that's something else we can talk about another time if need be.
Cool. Yeah. But yeah, I think you will enjoy the movie actually, because it does touch upon a lot of, you know, the elements of the movie that I like the most were the kind of things that you talked about, the idea of a kid who has these powers, and what would a kid do if he has these powers, and it plays out in a way that to me, you know, made perfect sense. It doesn't, you know, and this is not a spoiler, folks, but you know, when Billy Batson first gets the powers, it's not like the first thing he does is like, right, let me go and save some people. He doesn't. Like, he does what you would expect a 13-year-old to do if he suddenly had superhuman powers. You know, and that's where kind of the fun in the story is, and also where a lot of the heart of the story is. In this, Billy Batson is an orphan, and he goes to live with like a foster family in the big house, who've got like 4 other foster kids in there as well, who've all got their own kind of quirks of personality, which are really well played out in the movie. And it's, you know, interesting seeing Billy kind of be this outsider who doesn't feel like he fits in with this family, and you know, the family obviously try and integrate him as much as they can, but he's, you know, determined to try and find his mother, who he was separated from as a child. And, you know, the movie really does a great job of kind of, as said, capturing that side of the character that you described from the comics. So yeah, you know, it's definitely fun to watch. Plus, Mark Strong's in it, and he's always watchable whatever he does, and he's great. You know, the visual effects are actually really good as well. I thought the visual effects were really impressive. And yeah, it was just really refreshing and fun. You know, we keep saying this now about DC movies, where we're using the F word, and it's not fuck, it's fun. You know. So it seems like maybe they've learned their lesson finally, and they're starting to, you know, to listen to the audience a bit and deliver things that people can actually, you know, enjoy, cinema experiences that they can enjoy. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for Shazam. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. It's definitely worth a watch. I also checked out Pet Semetary as well. I won't spend too long on this one, because I'm hoping, Rich, we can kind of have a horror podcast in the future with me, you, and Jed, where we can kind of break down some of the more recent horror movies like this and Us. I know you've seen Us. I still haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I've seen Us. Yeah, I've seen Us. Listeners, I've seen Us.
Yeah. You forgot about that. Yeah. I still haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping to try and get that done this weekend, hopefully, touch wood. I'll get some time and I'll go and check that out. So yeah, I said we're hoping to kind of get a horror podcast going in a couple of weeks. So I won't go too deep into Pet Semetary. Suffice to say that overall it was fine, but there's a lot of changes made. If you're somebody who's familiar with Stephen King's original book, or even if you're familiar with the movie from the 80s, there's a lot of things that have been changed. Also, the complaints about the trailer and the trailer spoiling certain things are spot on. It did spoil a lot of things, unfortunately. I'm not sure who's cutting trailers these days, but like the people who seem to do it, just because it seems to me like a lot of movie trailers these days, and we're going to get into our trailer chat in a minute, listeners, so that's why I'm going down this road. But it seems to me, Rich, a lot that a lot of these trailers nowadays like spoil things. Like, unless you're talking about, like, you know, Avengers Endgame has done a really good job of kind of keeping the cards close to the chest. And, you know, I can think of a few other movies as well, although the names escape me at the moment, where I've seen trailers where I thought, okay, there's enough there to keep me intrigued without, you know, kind of going too deep into what the film's about. But a lot of other trailers, they just seem to be kind of really trying to basically tell you the whole arc of the movie in the trailer, which is weird. I don't know when this started, but it's just such an odd thing to see. I don't know if that's something you've noticed as well.
Yeah, no, I've definitely noticed that. I mean, to be honest, I think the only films off the top of my head that don't do that anymore. Wow. Like, no, facts, fuck it. Like I was gonna say if I could credit it to any one particular type of genre of film. But no, because I just think that maybe people cutting trailers who are just giving away everything, maybe they don't 100% believe in what they've got. Is that, could that be a thing? Because let's put it this way. I mean, you look at Avengers Endgame, and Avengers Endgame is like, you know, it's part of a franchise, so give or take, they know people are gonna come and see it. So technically, they could put everything in the trailer anyway, but yet they choose not to. You look at a film like Us, which has a couple of spoilers, a couple of twists, and Get Out, which came out before, and you watch the trailer for that, and it's cut pretty well. So some of these trailers that we have seen, maybe we need to sit down and think about, is, you know, do the studio believe that it's something that will sell if, you know, if they don't show everything in the trailer? Because that's the only thing I can think of, because like I said, that's like releasing releasing Endgame or releasing Infinity War and then showing in the trailer that Thanos kills everybody. It wouldn't make sense. So there's obviously somebody out there either not doing their job properly, or someone's going, yeah, okay, we need to get more bums in the seats, even if they fucking know what's going to happen. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. But I mean, yeah, Pet Semetary is a movie. Again, as I said, listeners, I won't go into like spoilers or anything like that. I thought it was pretty effective as a horror movie, although it kind of for what it makes up, you know, for what it does well with atmosphere and with tension, it kind of then undoes with its pacing, and there's a lot of exposition in it as well, which is something that's starting to really annoy me. It's not something that used to annoy me that much before, but it's kind of standing out to me now when you literally just get a character explaining to you, this is what's going to happen. This is this part, this is that part, and then this is going to come. And then exactly that follows on. And you're just kind of like, oh, like, could you not think of a cleverer way to kind of get over that? And I mean, exposition, you have to have exposition when you're telling a story. It's impossible to write a story and not have some type of exposition, because you need the audience to understand where you as a writer are coming from and what you're trying to say and what it is you want, you know, these characters to say. So you kind of have to have it, but it's, you know, it's a catch-22 that it's a tightrope that you're walking between kind of getting it right, by keeping it, you know, as minimal as possible, but still giving the audience enough information so they understand where they're going. And then just having, you know, large chunks of dialogue where people are just explaining what's going to happen next. And yeah, Pet Semetary at times, unfortunately, falls into the latter and does that quite a bit, which I found a bit annoying. So all in all, as I said, it's you know, it's a decent watch. It's certainly better than the 1980s movie, which I also rewatched recently. Good God, that film is terrible. It really is bad.
Who's the original again?
Right, I can't remember the lead actor's name, but he's like some bland American TV actor. I've forgotten his name; it completely escapes me.
Holy
but Denise Crosby is in it.
Del Midkiff.
Yes, that's him. Yeah,
he was Dr. Darian Lambert in Time Tracks. I used to love this show.
My God, he's terrible in Pet Semetary. I don't know how long ago you watched that film.
Years ago.
Yeah, he's awful in it, brother. If you watch it today, you'll be like, "What? How did he get the job?" But Denise Crosby's in it from Star Trek: Next Generation, and she's brilliant.
Yeah.
And Herman Munster, I forgot his name.
Oh, the one from the original,
the original Herman Munster. Yeah. I can't remember his name.
His name was Herman, bro.
Herman Munster, that's his name.
Herman Munster is Herman Munster.
It's Fred something, I think his real name is. I can't remember what it is now, but yeah, I mean, this remake is a lot better than that movie for sure. But I think considering, you know, how well done I thought it was, and how well they kind of took the things from the original that worked and left behind the things that didn't work and gave it a modern spin, and the movie still felt fresh. With this one, it doesn't feel like they've quite done that. And they've kind of left it open for sequels, but in an odd way, because the movie ends in a really odd way. As I said, when we get Jed on, we'll have like a spoilers chat on it, and I'll go into detail. But yeah, the Pet Semetary didn't quite hit the spots for me. It's fine, but you know, it's not really anything to shout about, to be honest. But let's move on from that. As I said, I did want to get into trailer chat. That's why I was kind of mentioning trailers and stuff, because we do have a couple of trailers that we've been able to check out recently, so we'll give you our thoughts on those. So we'll start off with the trailer for The Lion King. There was Disney recently released a full-length version trailer for the movie, which is due out this summer. I liked the look of the trailer visually. I have a few misgivings about maybe the way that they're going with the story. It kind of feels a little bit like maybe they're doing a shot-for-shot remake.
Yeah.
Which is going to bother me. I mean, I still have like a lot of faith in Jon Favreau, who's directing this. So, and you know, I quite enjoyed The Jungle Book, even though I know some people didn't really enjoy his take on it. But I feel like this might be just a straight up kind of rip from the animation and just done in live action with CGI, basically, from the way that the trailer is pitched. But aside from that, I mean, if it's got the musical numbers in it, you know, if it's got the Circle of Life speech, which it does according to the trailer, then that's probably going to be enough for me to get something out of it. A lot of people online were complaining about Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar, and saying that they didn't feel like he carried the same gravitas as oh god, what's his name now? The English actor?
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons, that's it. Yeah, people were saying, you know, they didn't feel that he carries the same gravitas. I kind of feel it's a bit unfair, because I think it's par for the course that people are going to compare, you know, the animated movie to this one. And I think that, you know, Ejiofor is a good actor. And I think Jeremy Irons kind of, you know, he voiced one of the iconic characters, and he created one of the iconic characters along with the script writers from movie history. So that's big shoes to fill. And whoever steps into those shoes is always going to have to carry the burden of people's expectations. So, you know, I kind of felt he was okay, to be honest, in the trailer. But what were your thoughts, Rich? I mean, does the movie look like something that you would want to go and take Luca to see, or?
Well, I mean, let's stay in regards to what some of the people were saying about Jesus. I can never pronounce his name.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh, see, now we're just showing off, right?
No, it's just because I've had practice saying it a lot.
No, when you stand in front of the mirror and you go, "How now, brown cow?"
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, number one, I think I definitely agree with you about what you said. Number one, he's a different actor, like you said. Number two, it's only a trailer. Once again, people are like going crazy and, you know, and basing performances off like, I just watched the trailer just before we recorded, and the trailer is what, 1 minute and 52 seconds, 1 minute and 49 seconds, and Scar's in it for what, how many seconds? You can't base his performance off that. That's number two. Number three, this will tie into as to like, you know, what I thought of it and whether I'll go and see it. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Jungle Book, the live action version. And it seems like they're going the same route with the Lion King, in regards that because it's filmed with that live action type of feel, it's not going to be able to be as Disney as we'd normally expect if it was animation, if you know what I mean. So it feels like instead of being like quite grandiose and you know, theatrical, they've had to scale down a few of the performances.
Mm.
And that's what I can only assume is going to happen in this Lion King remake, because that's what it felt like in the Jungle Book remake as well. Whereas, like, you had guys, like you got Baloo in the original cartoon, and he's that kind of chilled out, jazz, clicky fingers type of character who's quite loud. Whereas, like, Bill Murray he kind of toned him down just a little bit, and it wasn't a bad thing. And I felt that was how it felt throughout the whole of Jungle Book remake. And I can imagine that's what it's going to be like for the Lion King remake as well. In regards to would I see it, I don't mind. In fact, I'm a fan of the animation. But there was nothing in this trailer that made me go, wow, I have to go and see this, apart from how it looks. Like you said, it just looks like it may be another shot-for-shot remake. Or even if it isn't a shot-for-shot remake, there's still nothing that I saw in the trailer that there may be something different that it's going to make me go like, oh, I want to see this. Like, for example, you've read Pet Semetary, and then you've seen the 80s/90s movie, and then you've gone and seen this new one, which you just said. So that's 3 different views of a story that you can now look at, and you can say like, well, this one did this good, and that one did this one did didn't do this one, didn't do that one thing too good, which is my grandma's terribly bad there. And that's what I felt like the Lion King gave me, that it looks amazing, but is there going to be anything new that, when I go and see it, I'm going to be like, oh wow, this really had an impact on my life, because Luke has seen the Lion King animation, so this might not make any difference to him.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if that sounds a bit harsh.
No,
it's just because I'm looking at all of these Disney remakes, and I'm going like, you're not bringing anything new to the table. Disney hasn't brought anything new to the table for a little while. What they've done is they brought remakes, and I feel like that's a bit of a cop out. That's it's just an easy way to make money.
Yeah, I mean, I hear all of that, and I wouldn't disagree with any of it necessarily. I mean, I because I'm still a Disney fan, I'm I guess I'm their perfect audience in it, because it just takes a few kind of nostalgic kind of trips down memory lane for me to suddenly go, yeah, I want to see this and I want to see that.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, you can't really say that there's anything hugely different or radically, ambitious that they've tried to do with a lot of these movies. They've simply, as you said, just taken their animated movies and remade them.
Yeah.
But then I guess, from Disney's point of view, like the Beauty and the Beast made like nearly $1 billion. They looked at that and was like, well, boy, if people are going to turn up for our things like that, we might as well keep digging in the crates and seeing what we pull out. So but I mean, I don't think there's anything unfair in what you said, really. As said, for me, if they've got the songs in there, and I can sing along to a few bits, and I can cry to the Circle of Life song and all of that, then I'll be all right. But yeah, I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking as such from the Lion King based on that trailer.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. We also got a trailer that really intrigued me, actually, and that was for Joker. For those of you who don't know, this is a live action adaptation of the Batman villain, the Joker. He's getting an adaptation of his story into movie form. The movie, when it was announced, I think both you and I were pretty much on the same page, in the sense that we were skeptical, to say the least, especially given the fact that the movie was not going to be tied in any way to the previous DC movies that had come out at that point. And also because it seemed like they were doing 2 Joker movies at once, because apparently there was going to be this movie, then there was going to be Jared Leto's Joker movie. Jared Leto's Joker movie has now been cancelled, so that's off the slate and gone. So I suppose that clears that up a little bit. But I was still kind of skeptical, because I felt like I didn't really want to see like a Joker origin story, or the Joker's origin story. In a sense that, I the thing that I like about the Joker is the mystery. The Killing Joke is probably the one comic book I can think of off the top of my head that comes close to kind of giving you a real sense of who the Joker is. And that was enough for me. I know you know, in the recent DC Rebirth, they've deep dived into the Joker's origins, and apparently there's 3 different potential origins that he may have, and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of felt like I don't see how, you know, the Joker works without Batman. Basically, you know, they're 2 sides of the same coin, and I just can't see how that story is interesting without him. That said, when the trailer came out for this, I was like, okay, if that's going to be a sample of what the whole movie is going to be like, then, you know, I'm not excited, but I am intrigued, because I did get like a real distinctive vibe from this. It feels like they've not tried to do a comic book Joker origin, which is kind of fine. I can accept that if it's going to be like an Elseworlds kind of story, a what if type of story. Then I guess I can accept that, as said, if it's well done. And it does feel well done. I have to say, Joaquin Phoenix, you know, really, really surprised me at how well he kind of portrayed this take on the Joker, which is very different to all of the other portrayals that have gone before. And perhaps that's the way it should be, really, when it comes to a character like the Joker. But he's definitely gone down a different road and down a different direction. And it looks like the movie is going to be more based around the psychology of the character. And it had a real kind of like a Mean Streets feel to it, like a 1970s Martin Scorsese film about street punks. You know, it had that kind of feel to the trailer. And for me, if the movie manages to capture some of that spirit, then as I said, I will be intrigued and I'll give it a chance. But Rich, I mean, yeah, how about you? Because I said, I mean, I know initially you and I basically had the same thoughts and when they announced this thing, but when you actually watched the trailer, did it do anything to change your mind? Or?
I mean, like I said, it's intrigued me, much like yourself. I think one of the things that I think threw a lot of people off, maybe us included, was when we heard that Todd Phillips was directing it. And then we were like, yeah, Todd Phillips, Hangover. And then I went back and then I sat down and then I was like, you know what? And especially after seeing this trailer, I went back and I sat down again and looked at Todd Phillips' filmography. And I was like, a lot of people will just remember him for Hangover or the Hangover trilogy. But when you look at the films that he's made, some of them are pretty, like, excuse my language, some of them are pretty fucking dark. Like, if you think about it, the first Hangover is a funny film. But as the films go on, part 2 and part 3, there's some really black, dark humor in there. And like,
I was going to say, like, they get progressively darker, don't they? Basically, as the series goes on.
Yeah. And even down to some of the violence, even when you don't see it. Like, I mean, I don't know if you remember at the end of like the Hangover 3 when it shows the camera roll, the camera footage with them and the monkey and the cocaine and stuff. And even though it's done for shits and giggles, it looks like one of those nights where it's like, this isn't good. you know. So as much as it's meant to be a comedy, it, you know, sometimes it veers off to be like, it's not funny. Although it's in a funny film. So there's that. So I think he's definitely, like you said, nailed down that 1970s gritty feel, you know, with like a Scorsese flick. And it also reminds me a bit of that. Was that Scorsese film that he made with? It was, I think, Jerry Lewis and Robert De Niro.
King of Comedy.
King of Comedy, yeah. Did Scorsese do that as well, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got a very like a. It's set in the world of like, you know, the comedy circuit, but it's just super dark. So I remember getting that type of feel of from the Joker trailer, you know, similar to that. But then still, as much as I'm actually really surprised, but like you said, by what we've seen Joaquin do. I mean, to be honest, it's not as if Joaquin's a shit actor anyway. But I'm still thinking to myself, do I want a Joker film? I will go and see this film because it looks good. But as comic book fans and as, you know, as comic book film fans, when we see some of these films, we want it to be able to be like long standing. So we see Blade in 1999, whenever it came out, or no, earlier than that, 97, right, or 98. we want to be able to say, well, Blade is what, nearly over 10 years old, and we can pop in a DVD and be like, look, this fucking still stands to the test of time. You can watch Superman 1, it still stands the test of that time. And with Joker, are they just making it just to make money? If that's the case, then just make a film about a guy who goes crazy, who wants to be a clown, and then just leave it be, and don't tarnish like a well-written character like the Joker. That's what I'm scared of. Because and then once again, it just goes back to the whole thing of at one point we were going to have 2 Joker movies. Like, what's happened there? And then now this isn't in any way connected to the DC universe. I'm not saying that it has to be. Then if that's the case, if it's not going to be connected to the DC universe, then just make a really, really good film, like I said, about a guy who goes crazy and it's somehow connected to clowns. So this is what I'm worried about. As much as I'm intrigued, I want it to be able to stand up to the test of time, and as a film on its own. But if you're gonna have something else attached to it, and that might drag it down, then don't bother. Then you're just wasting my time. So I'm still a bit harsh on it, just for the simple fact that after over the past 10 years, we've seen people trying to create all of these universes, and some of them aren't really putting the work in. They're just cashing in. And I really wouldn't like to see somebody like Todd Phillips, who has made quite a good few films, or someone like Joaquin Phoenix, who is a good actor and has been Oscar nominated before if he hasn't won, just making a film like this just because it can make money. Venom. So you know what I mean. But yeah, I'll definitely go and see it when it does come out.
Well, it can't be as bad as Venom. So,
although remember, Venom has made $1 billion.
Yeah, he wishes it made $1 billion. It's made about, I think, 750 or 800.
Oh, is it 100 million? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still baffled as to how that film has made so much money. I'm lost, really lost as to how that film made so much money. But hey, whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, we'll definitely keep on top of developments with the Joker movie, and we'll cover any more news that comes out from that. But yeah, listeners, I mean, we've, as you can tell, well, I guess you could say we're cautiously optimistic. About that film. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. All right, and then we got a biggie as well that came out literally like just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah, it was the long-awaited Episode 9 trailer from Star Wars. We also got the reveal of the movie name, so the movie will be called Rise of the Skywalker. And we got our first teaser trailer for it, and I have to say the trailer like really got me, man. I mean, again, it's one of those things where, I've kind of said in the past on the podcast that Star Wars my Star Wars fandom is waning slightly. Possibly, I don't know, due to Star Wars fatigue. I don't know, or if it's because the certainly the Last Jedi left me with mixed feelings. So, my love for it hasn't quite been there, but when I clicked on the trailer and I watched it, I was suddenly kind of taken over. And this is how they fucking get you, man. This is why Disney paid so much money for this franchise. Because the moment that you get sucked into kind of that atmosphere of Star Wars, you're in again. And they know it. Like, Disney knows it. Mickey Mouse fucking knows it. He's sitting there in the palace going, yeah? What's that? You don't like Star Wars? Wait till I drop this trailer, bitches. Then what you got to say? Huh? You're going to come to me and give you money. But, yeah, like, they sucked me in straight away. I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, you've got me now. So I guess I'm going to see Star Wars Episode 9. But the trailer didn't give away too much information, I didn't think. Although there was obviously the big scene at the beginning with Rey. Clearly it has become much stronger with the Force than she was in The Last Jedi. Yeah, Rich, I mean, you're a Star Wars guy, so I'll let you, roll out on this one and give your thoughts.
I wouldn't say I've got Star Wars fatigue. I would say that I'm a Star Wars fan by default. And if I had to be brutally honest, I think it's a franchise that doesn't know what it's doing. Especially well, I think since it was since it was bought by Disney, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, like that everything is just nonsense, but I think in regards to buying a franchise of Star Wars, they bit off a bit more than they could chew, and in no way is that a disrespect to Disney, but then I look at Star Wars when it was under George Lucas's hands, who, as we all know, fucking created it. And to be honest, he didn't know exactly 100% what to do with something that he created. So you can't really, be too mad. But then, like you said, Jay, with Star Wars, that they get you. See, you've got a lot more strength than I have. When I see Lucas film, the green writing, that gets me from there. Yeah, like 20. Whenever I see 20th Century Fox, I'm like, okay, this could be something Star Wars. And then it's not Star Wars, and I'm like, god damn it, trick me again. Let me leave the cinema. I didn't really want to see this film. I just bought the ticket because I thought it was going to be a Star Wars trailer, and that's how I waste a lot of money, right? No, but I see the trumpet fanfare for 20th Century Fox. Then I see Lucasfilm and green writing, and I'm like, god damn, let me pull down these trousers.
Wait, sorry, just before you can, Rich, just before you continue, correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm making that up, but wasn't there a movie? Remember when the prequels came out and the first trailer for episode 1 came out?
Yeah,
wasn't there a movie that saw like a huge spike in ticket sales because people were going to see the episode 1 trailer?
Yeah,
I swear I'm not making it up. I'm sure I remember reading that somewhere, but I can't remember what movie it was. But I think it was in America. There was like a massive spike in ticket sales for this movie, and people were literally buying tickets just so they could go and see the episode 1 trailer.
Yeah.
You're not alone in that. You're not alone at all.
Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, slightly deviating, but I remember the same thing happened with. I can't remember what PS2 game it was. But what it was is that the PS2 game gave away a trailer of Metal Gear Solid 2, and that's what basically made that game like a big seller, because people were just buying the game for a trailer of Metal Gear Solid 2. But I can't remember what film it was that had a Phantom Menace trailer attached to it. But yeah, I definitely remember that, because I think back then that's when Mark used to work in the cinema.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and so and I think it was announced that the trailer was going to be attached to a particular film, and I think he let me come and watch the trailer or something. I'll see if I can contact him and find out what it is. In regards to the trailer, like I said, I'm a Star Wars fan by default, so I'm, give or take, always going to go and see it. But I may not be the most diehard fan, just because I think it's kind of lost its way. I wouldn't say it's fatigue. I just think it's lost its way. But this trailer, it got me. I have to admit, it got me. The last few trailers, so the last couple of films, I think I've watched the trailer, and if I have enjoyed it, it's just been me lying to myself. But this trailer actually got me. I'm a bit skeptical still, because the track record hasn't been the best. And the opening scene with Rey, which I think is easily the best part of it, it does remind me of a scene from Return of the Jedi with Luke Skywalker having a fight with a speeder on the planet Endor. And so the reason why that rings alarm bells is because, once again, I just really hope that this isn't like a rehash of one of the original trilogy episodes and just an excuse to kill off any of the old characters, because we see Lando in there, and it just feels like every episode that we've had is just an excuse to kill off an original character. So The Force Awakens, you kill off Han Solo. The Last Jedi, you kill off Luke Skywalker. I'm not sure if Princess Leia was ever at one point going to be killed off, but it just, the algorithm's there. But I have to admit, I was really, really intrigued by this trailer. And for the first time, I felt excited to see the squad, the team on screen. So like Rey, Finn, Poe, BB-8, the other droids, Chewie. It did stir a little something in me. I'm not sure if that's something which I should be super happy with, because we're 3 films into a trilogy now, and I really should have been feeling this from the first one. But since I'm going to see this film by default, I reckon I'll have to take it as a win. But as a trailer, they've really done well. And once again, like you said earlier on at the beginning of the show, Jay, they didn't give away anything. Yeah, I mean, technically, they could give away everything, and people would still go and see this Star Wars movie. So but yet they've still kept their cards close to their chest. So I'm definitely interested in seeing this. Definitely excited.
Yeah, man. I mean, they've whet the appetite for me again, and they've thrown a few nuggets in there as well, because it looks like we're going to get a proper look at the Knights of Ren as well.
Yeah,
which is something that we didn't get to see in the Force Awakens that we thought we were going to see. We have hints about kind of Rey's background and her parentage and things like that, apparently, which are going to be explained in this movie. So that should be interesting to see.
Retcons. This is a prime example. Sorry to interrupt, but this is a prime example of what I'm saying about. It feels like I think they're bit off more than they could chew when they purchased the franchise. Because remember, essentially, the whole thing was that we were never ever going to find out about Rey's parentage.
Oh yeah. Sorry, you're right. Yeah.
But then with the uproar from the fans, now they're like, okay, we're going to have to explore it. And yeah, but sorry, carry on.
But and then of course we got that little we got Big Billy D in the house as well. He's back. Lando Calrissian is back, and it's great to see Billy D back in a Star Wars movie finally. And yeah, we got the big reveal, or well, I don't know if it's a reveal or not, at the end of that famous laugh, suggesting that Emperor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious, is going to play some role in this movie. Now, I think they're trying to play their cards close, because Ian McDiarmid was at Star Wars Celebration, and he was interviewed recently, I think, by GameSpot or someone like that, and they were saying to him, does this mean that the Emperor's alive? And he said no, that as far as he knows, the Emperor is dead. He says that when he spoke to George Lucas about it, he tried to kind of pitch ideas to him about how the Emperor could come back, but Lucas was like, no, you're dead. So I don't know, but I mean, they obviously have not put that laugh in by mistake. So clearly, he's going to be there, and he's going to play some type of role. What type of role, we don't know. But yeah, I guess maybe closer to the time, Rich, we can do like a little speculation podcast, and we can sit down and throw some ideas out and spitball and see, where we might be going with this thing. But yeah, I mean, that was what I kind of took away from that. I mean, was that your takeaway as well?
That the Emperor's back?
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who thinks otherwise would be a fool, really. But I mean, until we see a visual image for it, they can technically do anything they want. Yeah, he's just a guy that sounded like the Emperor. It could be as simple as that. And the way how this franchise has been moving recently, you never even know what they might turn around and say. Would I be interested in seeing the Emperor come back? If anything, the only reason I'd be interested in seeing him come back is because we haven't had a good villain as of yet. Like Empress Snoke, was it Empress Snoke? Was it Lord Snoke?
I don't even know what his title was.
Theresa May?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
I mean, like that villain was built up to be, this is going to be the big bad, and then ended up killing him off in The Last Jedi. I mean, there's nothing. There's no villain that I feel has brought the fear into this new trilogy. I mean, when you look back and you go back and you watch the original trilogy, Darth Vader isn't scary like when you're a kid and like, oh my god, he's scary, but he fills the role and he plays the role well. And then when the Emperor comes into it, then you're just like, wow, it's a whole new fucking kettle of fish. And then when you've got the prequels, I mean, the villains may not be as strong, and some of them did kind of falter, especially when we were promised that they were going to be dangerous characters like General Grievous. But once again, the Emperor plays a very, very dominant role from episode 1 to episode 3, especially as the episodes go on. So and he wasn't even like a physical character, so to speak, but he was just stupidly menacing. Perfect. And we haven't had that in this one. So once again, this might be another retcon where they're thinking like, well, what do people like, or what do people know, or what are people familiar with. So maybe that's the reason why they're bringing back the Emperor. The same way how, like, you know, once again, there's been uproar and people say that they want to know who Rey's parentage is. And, you know, after the killing of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, was the title of the film always going to be The Rise of the Skywalker? Like I said, I don't know, the way how the franchise has been moving these days, it seems like they're just trying to fix things last minute. But I'd love to see the Emperor Palpatine come back, just because I think he's a great undersold villain.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not sure where they're going to go with that character and how they're going to bring it in, but I definitely want to see more of Palpatine. Palpatine's always good for a laugh, so yeah, bring him in. Bring him in, man. But yeah, that kind of sums up the thoughts nicely, really, and that moves us on nicely as well to the next topic, which is basically the topic of this podcast, or the name of this podcast. In a sense that, you know, there's been a lot of news recently about new streaming services that will be launching very soon. Apple are starting their own streaming service. And of course, we got confirmation that Disney Plus will be starting this year. We'll start with Disney Plus, because there's just kind of more information really to go on for what it's going to be and things like that. So Disney Plus, it was confirmed last week, will be launching in November in the US. So all you American listeners, you're going to get your chance to dive into Disney Plus early on. For the rest of us, it looks like we're going to have to wait. They're saying a worldwide rollout should be completed by 2022. So I'm presuming we'll get it at some point in 2020 or maybe 2021. We'll see. I'm not sure. But yeah, you know, this service is going to go live from this year. In the US, it will cost $6.99 per month. So around about kind of what you would expect, really, although it is quite aggressively undercutting Netflix, who obviously it wants to compete with in this space. And, you know, that is a very competitive price point. And also, when you consider what Disney are planning on doing with the service, that does mean that things are going to get very tight for Netflix. So it'll be interesting to see how things kind of develop over the coming months as that kind of whole thing starts to take shape. But with Disney Plus, along with, you know, the thousands and thousands of Disney TV shows and movies and animations that are all exclusively going there, you're also getting exclusive content from Star Wars and Marvel. From Star Wars, we have the TV series The Mandalorian, which is about to launch in fact, I think it will be available on launch day in America, which is a pretty big coup for Disney to pull off. From what I've read about the series, I don't know a lot about Mandalorians as characters. I know Boba Fett was one, and that's about as far as it goes. But Rich, I know you know a bit about Mandalorian. So first off, are you kind of looking forward to seeing the Mandalorian? And secondly, could you just explain a little bit for those who don't know what a Mandalorian is? That we're
talking joke? Like the Mandalorians were never my favorite. So I couldn't even tell you 100% what I do know, just because I reckon it's probably going to be wrong. But I can say that they're a race of warriors who were just feared and revered around the universe. That much I can tell you. And I think Boba was trained by them. You know what? I'm not even going to open my mouth, because I think I've actually got it completely wrong. I do know that there were a race of warriors that were just crazy, just, you know, respected throughout the universe. In regards to me being interested in seeing it, I would prefer to see a Boba Fett TV show. Just because I think the love that Boba Fett has, I don't think he deserves it. And to any listeners out there who may be Star Wars fans, I'll break it down for you. Darth Vader is, he's the main, give it to, like I said, he's the villain of the Star Wars films, depending on how you look at it. Like I said, when you watch it from episode 1, it's really Emperor Palpatine. But then Darth Vader, as kids, he was like the biggest, baddest motherfucker in the galaxy, far, far away. But he didn't really do anything. And it wasn't until Rogue One, when you see him going to catch those plans from the rebel soldiers, where you're like, this guy's mean and he's scary. In those 2-3 minutes, I think he earned the reputation of being the most evil person in the galaxy. And I look at somebody like Boba Fett, and to me, Boba Fett's just a joke. He doesn't really do anything throughout the original trilogy, apart from nod his head and then get taken out by Han Solo and Chewbacca, like almost in an almost pantomime way of being hit by a blind Han Solo with a stick. I feel like every time I watch Return of the Jedi and on the skiff on Tatooine, I feel like going to Boba Fett. He's behind you. And
yeah, steady on there, man. You might piss off all the Boba Fett fanboys out there.
No, it's true. But I mean, I'm sure if any of those guys are truthful, if they're not talking about any form of extended universe type of iteration of Boba Fett, they wouldn't be able to argue a very strong case. That's how much faith I have it in my opinion in regards to the character. Like I said, I don't think the character's shit. I just don't think he's a character that deserves the praise that he gets, because everything that we've been told, we never see it. So I'd rather see some of these exploits for somebody like Boba Fett, as opposed to, say, like The Mandalorian. So do a Boba Fett TV show and then delve into the history of the Mandalorians, which, maybe trained him and did X, Y, Z. But then once again, like I said, I'm a Star Wars fan by default. So anything to do with the actual universe, I'm give or take going to delve into it and be interested in and see where they're going to go with it. So yeah, they've sold me on that. Disney might get my $6.99 or whatever, how much it costs, just because of that show alone.
Well, they did show some footage for the Mandalorian, and it went down very, very well. People were very impressed with
Star Wars fans, all right?
Yeah, I mean, this is Star Wars fans, so obviously, like, I mean, we know a Star Wars fan who would, I think, would jizz his pants at just about anything that has Star Wars.
He probably saw it because he was at Star Wars Celebration. He
did. If you don't know who we're talking about, listeners, we're talking about, of course, the Man Geek. I may actually try and reach out to the Man Geek and see if we can get him on to talk about Star Wars Celebration and to tell us all what he saw and what he experienced. So yeah, stay tuned. We may do that. But yeah, the footage, as said, went down really well. I guess what kind of intrigues me is the talent involved in it, because there's quite a lot. There's Jon Favreau is one of the executive producers who I've got a lot of time for, and I think he directed the pilot episode as well. I think Taika Waititi has directed an episode as well.
Yeah.
It's got Pedro Pascal playing the main character, who's a guy that I love.
See, that's intrigued me, because I like him. He's in the same league as Joel Kinnaman for me right now.
Yeah, I love Pedro Pascal. He's great. So anything that gives me more of him, I'm happy with. Gina Carano's in it as well.
What?
Yeah. Carl Weathers is in it as well. Nick Nolte, and bizarrely Werner Herzog, the filmmaker. He's in it too.
Filmmaker, stroke actor, isn't it?
Yeah. I know he does have a creditable acting career, but I suppose he's more well known for his directing, really, than his movies, than his acting roles. But yeah, he's in it as well. So yeah, there's a lot of like big names lined up for this series. So yeah, I have to say I am intrigued by the Mandalorian. And as I said, I don't know a whole lot about the Mandalorian lore and history. So that in itself would interest me and get me wanting to see more and to find out more about them. So yeah, Disney are onto a winner with that one. And if that wasn't enough, of course, we know that there are also going to be TV shows made by Marvel Studios. Now, these TV shows, we've started to get a few details about them, and it's becoming clear, it's been confirmed that these TV shows are going to be part of the MCU film universe, and they're going to be based around MCU characters. One of well, we've got confirmation, I think, on 3 of the shows. We have a Loki series, although we don't know details about what that's going to be about. There's been rumors that it may be about Loki's role in human history and kind of the hijinks he's got up to in the past. There is a TV show with Scarlet Witch and the Vision, which is called WandaVision. And apparently some of the details around that are that it's going to be based slightly on the recent comic book run by Tom King called The Visions, where Vision creates like his own family and things like that. I've never actually read it, but it's very, very highly rated. People who are comic book fans rave about that series. So if it's going to be based on that, then they've got a good footing there for that. And the other show is going to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. We don't know any details about that at all. All we know is that there's going to be a TV show about those 2 characters. There's also talk of some animated properties that Marvel are going to produce for Disney Plus as well. So there'll be some animated shows that will go out. Again, we don't know a lot of details about that, but we do know there's going to be a What If series. For those that don't know, Rich, because I mentioned What If when I was talking about the Joker, what is the What If series? If you were to kind of sum it up to somebody who had no clue.
Literally, the best way to do it, the What If series is a series of stories, of standalone stories, although there have been sagas based in multiverse universes. But what happens is that they take like a standard story and they just put a spin on it. So, for example, each issue will always be what if, and then ... So, for example, what if? I think what's one of my favorite stories? What if Wolverine? No, what if Spider-Man became? No, what if Daredevil became?
Well, there's the famous one is Spider-Man joining the Fantastic Four, isn't it, or something like that?
That's one. Yeah, there's one of. I mean,
there's loads of them. I mean, there's literally.
We could probably think of random ones, and it's probably happened anyway. So yeah, and basically, yeah, it's just an excuse to give a writer an excuse to run wild with a famous storyline and see what they would do different, and then obviously not fuck around with anything which is considered canon in the comic universe.
Yeah, that's a pretty good summation. Thanks, man. So yeah, basically, I mean that is going to be one of the properties that will be on Disney Plus exclusively as well. The first What If story we're going to get is apparently what if Peggy Carter was Captain America. So it's going to be what if Peggy Carter was the one who took the Soldier Serum and not Steve Rogers, and then took up the mantle of Captain America. Apparently they're bringing back Hayley Atwell to provide the voice of Peggy Carter as well, which is a big plus. And as said, Kevin Feige has said that, for all of these what if stories, they're all going to be based around MCU characters, and they will all be voiced by the actors who portrayed those roles in film. So you can expect all of the heavy hitters, I presume, to feature in those stories at some point. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea. I mean, for the what ifs, I'm trying to think if I ever really got into what if stories in comics when I was kind of reading them heavily, and I don't think I ever necessarily did.
I've got a trade of them if you want to borrow it.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. This I've had it from since I was in secondary school. To be fair,
okay.
And I think it's got probably some of the most famous ones. One of them was what if Jean Grey was never killed as a Phoenix?
Oh, right. Yeah, I think I vaguely remember that as well. Yeah.
And literally just as you were talking, the way how that story ends, what I really do hope is that in these what if stories, I mean, I know Disney's Disney's channel, Disney's aimed at kids, but I really do hope that is not the whole thing where they do like a different multiverse, not multiverse, that's DC, like a what's the universe called for the for MCU again when it's
what, the 616 Earth?
Yeah, no, but they like DC has the multiverse, right? And
Mm.
then Marvel has something else. What's it called again? Do you remember?
Oh, I see what you mean. No, I can't remember. But
But
yeah,
but
I know what you mean.
basically, but in each of these what if stories, they don't always end on a high note.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
have been a good few that it just ends badly. And what if Jean Grey wasn't killed as a phoenix? It is one of them. It's an amazing story, but it essentially just tells the truth of like, well, this is what happened, and it gives a logical explanation as to reason why it's able to happen. So I really hope that the series does do that as well. I don't want to see like unicorns and rainbows after every single episode. Um, and to be fair, hopefully if they kind of go the route of what they did with Infinity War, then maybe they've shown that they can appeal to, we don't always the good guys don't always have to win, but it's about telling a good story. So that's what I have fingers crossed about in regards to this What If series.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, they've got loads of scope to kind of explore different things with that side of it. So, yeah, we should wait and see to hear some more information on that. For the actual Disney Plus service itself, I know that in America there is talk that they're planning on offering packages as well. So for American listeners, you may not necessarily have to give up your Hulu account or your ESPN account because Disney owns those as well. So there's talk that they may be looking at trying to package Disney Plus with some of those other streaming services. As said, for us in the UK, there's no real confirmation on release dates yet. So we're just going to have to sit tight and wait and see when the mouse blesses us with this series and when with this product. But yeah, Disney Plus looks like it's going to be good. What I'm not too sure about is Apple Plus. Now, Apple have decided to enter the streaming game as well. They have their own platform, as said, called Apple TV Plus, which is due to launch at some point this year as well, I believe. With Apple Plus, I mean, it seems like they've entered the game late. I'm just going to come out and say it because, like, from the background that they're coming from to come into the streaming game is going to be very, very tricky. But anyway, they seem to be pretty confident in it. They don't really have any details on what series they're going to be producing or movies or things like that. But we do know some of the talent that will be working with them is J.J. Abrams, Steven Spielberg, M. Night Shyamalan. Oprah Winfrey is doing some stuff with them. Apparently, she's doing a documentary with Prince Harry about mental health. Which will be coming out on the Apple Plus, exclusively on the Apple Plus TV service. There's a few kind of shows that they've mentioned, some of which I don't really know too tough, to be honest, but I'll go through the list anyway. Let me just pull up the list here and I'll let you know what it is exactly that's going to be on there. Yeah, so there was Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories.
He's bringing that back.
Yeah, he's bringing that back. So that will be back and will be exclusive for Apple. There's Oprah Winfrey stuff. Has said that she's working on the mental health documentary, and there's a couple of other documentaries as well that apparently she's going to be working on. There is going to be a TV show called The Morning Show with Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston and Steve Carell. So that's kind of like a drama series. There's something with Alfre Woodard and Jason Momoa as well. A post-apocalyptic thriller called C. What else is there? Yeah, J.J. Abrams is doing a film about the trials and tribulations of a rising star, it says here. Sesame Street is going to be on there. Oh, well, no, it's not even actually Sesame Street. It's something that called Helpsters, which is apparently from the same people who do Sesame Street. But it'll be puppetry and educational stuff, all of that kind of thing, basically. But that's really it in terms of content. They haven't really given too much away about what exactly the makeup of that content is going to be. Also, pricing wise, I don't think there's any confirmation yet on prices. But they're saying, it's going to be an ad-free subscription service like Netflix, so there'll be no adverts on there. It'll all be exclusive Apple content, and it will be available worldwide as well. And it should be coming towards the end of the year. But as said, as things stand at the moment, to be honest, you've got some work to do, Apple, because Disney are kicking your ass. They're really kicking your ass out here. So they're going to have to do some more selling of this service. I mean, it should be a big pickup on it because Apple is, the number one tech brand in the world. Everybody's got an iPhone. So in terms of selling it shouldn't be that difficult to sell to people, unless you don't get the right content on there, and that's really what's gonna decide this battle, really, because content is king. And as said, as things stand, if you're going off what we know today, Disney are pretty much wiping the floor with them as they've done with pretty much anybody who tries to go up against them. So yeah, we should wait and see. I mean, I'll take it you won't be dropping no $6.99 on Apple's Plus TV, no? Well, we can leave it at that then.
Android all the way, Netflix all the way. The only reason I've got Amazon is because the missus has Amazon. No. I'm sorry, Apple. I can't do
it. Fair dues. Yeah, we wait and see, man. But that's about it, listeners. I think we've kind of covered all the ground we wanted to cover today. So I'll draw a line under this one. Before we go, though, I will say, as usual, a quick thank you to Rob from emotionally14.com for all his support that he gives us. Make sure you go and visit emotionally14.com to check out other geek podcasts as well, like Talk Star Wars and Tumbling Saber. I'm sure Rob has probably already done a deep dive dissection of the Star Wars Episode 9 trailer. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, then go and check out Talk Star Wars. That's a really, really good Star Wars podcast. Also, a big shout out as well to the Britpod scene. They are the collective that we are a part of, which is a home for loads of British independent podcasters. If you're interested in that kind of thing, make sure you go and check out BritpodScene.com or check out Britpod Scene on your social medias, and you'll find them. And make sure you follow them because, as I said, there's plenty of great British podcast content out there. Rich, did you want to add anything before we go?
No, I think we're good, dude. I think we're good.
Cool. Well, thanks as always, man, for coming along.
Thank you. It's good to be back, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And as I said, listeners, thank you for your patience with us. I know it can be a bit annoying not getting podcasts on time and stuff like that. We are working on it, I promise you. And we will be back in the saddle and back up to speed with everything as soon as possible. But in the meantime, we take our leave of you and we say good night. Rich Kid, say good night.
Good night.
And take care of yourselves, people. Be happy, be positive, and just be kind to one another, man. It's a big old beautiful world that we've got, and we've only got one, so let's look after it. All right, take care, people. See you around. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to us. If you're down with Wulong Talks, show some love by following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Wulong Talks. You can also find us online at www.wulongtalks.com or drop us an email at wulongtalkspodcast@gmail.com. We can also be found as part of the Britpod Scene Collective, and we're also officially E14 endorsed. Search for those hashtags to enjoy more content from us and from other great British podcasters.